let's wrap up our UW football coverage for the year. The Huskies lost 24-7, but they hung in there for most of the game against the number one ranked team in the country for all of the year. Everyone considered Alabama the favorite. That offense, the UW offense, just couldn't get anything going apart from that first drive there. Why was that, Lacey?
Well, guys, Alabama is a very talented team with some big dudes, and they held UW as well as a lot of the teams they played this season to a very low score, as they should have, being the number one ranked team in the country. Bama was able to sack Browning 5 times. With the Huskies being a primarily passing offense, I think the Bama defense did a good job of pressuring Browning into quick decisions, and because of that, he threw 2 interceptions, as well as 1 fumble by Ross. The 3 turnovers allowed Bama to capitalize and score 10 points just from the defensive end. And there was a change of momentum at the end of that first half when Alabama got a pick 6, and that kind of changed the whole ball game heading into the second half.
I've been a huge Jake Browning rah-rah guy this entire time. I'm telling you right now, that ball should never have left his hand.
Yeah,
he should never have thrown that ball, and Coach Troy Taylor would tell him the same thing. That one's got to go out of bounds.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'll agree with that one. All right, the Huskies defense held Alabama to 24 points. But did they really play that well, DJ?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
If you look at it, the Huskies defense actually held Alabama to 17 points because of the pick 6.
That's right.
But you know,
math.
they. Thank you. I can do math every once in a while.
Attaboy.
I'm just glad that the selection committee gave the Dogs a chance to get in there, give them a chance against Alabama. We were talking before the show, and Drew said they were a year away, maybe, even though the selection committee did give them a chance. And I would have to agree with that. But going back to the defense, the offense just put them in a bunch of bad situations. Their starting field position was on Alabama's side of the 50, and it was just terrible because, like, you would keep trying to gain momentum, but you just felt like you were hanging on a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how I felt coming into the game. And when we threw that touchdown, you know, maybe I was climbing up a little bit, but then they just shot me down like that. And it's just the first after the first quarter, there was no hope, I feel like, for UW fans because Alabama was just that dominant.
Yep.
So I have a question.
Bro, you sound actually sad. You sound heartbroken talking about
I was sad. I was sad.
I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
It's a great season. We'll be back next year.
Yeah.
But
Yes,
I got a
you
question
will.
for you, DJ, since you play football. I know
Okay.
you're not a defensive player, but what really killed the Dogs, in my opinion, was watching Bama's running back, number 9,
That
Bo
running back's
Scarborough.
built like a
Scarborough.
tight end. He's
Just-
not a running back. He's a tight end who takes carries.
He's
Well, every
6'3",
time-
250 pounds.
Every single play, he averaged 9.5 yards per carry for a total of 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. Why weren't the Huskies able to recognize this and stop him? I mean,
Well, it's like the Seahawks with Beast Mode a couple years ago. It just
Yes.
takes the pride and joy out of playing defense against that Alabama offense.
Also, you have to remember that you have a Heisman nominee also behind center taking snaps.
mm-hmm.
That's the other thing is that, yeah, Alabama's known for SEC, I'm going to punch you in the mouth football, but they actually had a quarterback this year who could spread the field and make plays.
Yeah.
And UW can't not respect that. And UW's strength, I believe, in their defense is not in the down 4, but in the back 7, is in the secondary
Yeah.
and in your linebacker core. And I just felt like your linemen got pushed around.
Well, I didn't think that Huskies tackled well at all.
Yeah, they
Scarborough's
missed a lot.
weren't. That's why I asked you. They really play that well. 24 points is not that much for an Alabama offense. But when you see that, Scarborough averaged 9.5 yards per carry, like really, were they that good?
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to see, especially next year.
Yeah.
'Cause
Next year you guys would be
Buda
really good.
Baker, we lost Buda Baker, we lost Sidney Jones. I'm not sure about Kevin King, but those guys in the back end of the defense, I hope we can replace them. I mean, I know we're going to be good, but USC is going to be good as well, especially with Sam Darnold. Yes.
Yeah.
He's a
Very good.
beast.
All right, so we kind of started the show by talking about this. Drew, you went on a little bit of a rant to begin. Now let's go full circle. Let's go back. Did the Dogs deserve to be in the college football playoff.
Under the current system and under the current guidelines to make the college football playoff, yes. Were they the 4th best team in the country at the end of the year? No. But did they deserve to be there by the rules of the committee? Yes, they did. By every stretch of the imagination, they deserve to be there. Me and DJ talked about at the beginning of the year. Washington, if Washington would have gone to the Rose Bowl, let's just say they would have gone to the Rose Bowl and didn't make the national championship, it still would have been a great year for UW football. In Chris Peterson's mind, they were a year away.
Yep.
We talked about they were a year away from being dominant. Now they go to the national championship. They play an Alabama team. Christian was on me all the whole 2 weeks we talked about the national championship. He's going to say, you can't just talk about how big they are. You just can't talk about how big they are. You have to give me some stats. They got pushed around. It was because Alabama was bigger. That was the only difference. Because let me tell you this right now, UW has better skill players than Alabama does, and it's been proven all year. And so, did UW deserve to be there? Yes, but are they probably the top 4 teams in the country? No, I put them currently at number 5. I think that Penn State and USC are in the 4. I believe it goes Alabama, Clemson, USC, Penn State, UW, Ohio State. I think that UW's right there on the cusp. I expect them to be the preseason number 5 next year. If Clemson does not drop out because of the loss of Deshaun Watson, they may move up to the 4, but I think that's how it currently sits. UW did deserve to go. They had a hell of a year. They're going to be even better next year. Watch out for the Dogs. They're going to be a higher seed than 4 next year, I promise.
So you're going to put, let's see, USC was worse statistically, offensively, than UW was. And Penn State gave up 52 points to that team. You're going to try and put that defense against Alabama and get a better game?
No, I'm not saying they would have
even if the Huskies,
I'm not saying they would have gotten them a better game. I'm saying USC would have scored more than 7 points.
They would have scored more than 7 points?
Yes.
I think
yes.
But they would have given up
USC
55.
scored more than that on UW.
Yeah.
No.
USC ran UW out of the water.
I think
I don't
USC
know.
just had bigger hosses up
and
front.
Sam Darnold is the best quarterback in college football right now.
I don't know. I don't think there's a team that could have played Alabama and kept the game as close as they did. If you put any team that
probably not
didn't make it in-
defensively, probably not defensively. I think I give you that, but that's why UW was there this year because of their defense. Like you cannot make the college football playoff and have an embarrassing loss. USC and Penn State both had embarrassing losses. You can't make it.
Yeah. Browning was a completely different quarterback second half of the year too.
USC shook him bad.
For
That
sure.
shook his confidence bad.
Yeah.
I've never seen Jake play like that ever.
He's thrown a lot of passes in his high school and early college career. I mean, in California, he set records.
I know. I played against him.
Played against Drew, man.
How many touchdowns he threw?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
So-
10 a game.
Good.
Average 10 a game. He was ridiculous. That's why that's why I said I've never seen him play like this. The second half of the year, it was so sad.
Yeah.
And I feel kind of bad for the Skyline High School alum who Sam Darnold sat in front of. The only reason they played him to start the year is so he wouldn't transfer. And they did it because they didn't have a backup for Sam Darnold.
Yep.
That's the only reason they did that, and it cost them a spot in the college football playoff. I feel bad for the poor kid, man.
I think he'll have success at Pitt, though.
I do.
He's moving on.
I do. But let me tell you this right now. Watch out for Sam Darnold in the next 2 years. He'll be a Heisman candidate next year.
Oh, yeah, next year.
He's a stud.
529 yards. It's ridiculous in
Yeah.
a bowl game. It's ridiculous.
For a freshman.
All right, so today has been fun. Covering the Huskies has been a blast all season long, and we'll move on next week to a little UW basketball, which I'm not sure.
I'm excited about
Lacey
it.
is.
Why
All
are
right,
you? Why
one.
are you excited?
Maybe-
about it?
Maybe
I
the
don't
women's basketball.
I don't-
not
the
girls.
women's
Yeah, the
basketball
women's
team.
team.
Let's
I'm
talk
excited
about the
men's.
women's
I'm not
team.
excited to talk about the worst coach in Division I men's basketball.
By the way,
That's
UW
for darn
women
sure.
beat number 9 UCLA last night.
Yeah, see, there we go. We might just do women's basketball from UW.
Men's basketball is
Forego men's
ridiculous.
basketball.